This is a story about a guy aged 32 who is driving Grab and has a side hustle playing in the casino. You heard it right, playing in the casino. And before we get any further, I'd like to reiterate that almost everyone who goes into a casino actually loses money. And whether or not this is gambling, it's debatable, but at no stage during this entire discussion should I sound like I support gambling, because I don't. And with that cleared out of the way, let's dive on to the case itself. Thank you so much for looking at my DMs. Basically, I was a high flyer in the bank, but I left my job somewhere in 2017 due to politics, and I was never someone who was good at navigating office politics. So if you piece the story together, he left his corporate banking job at the age of 26 because of politics. You know, guys, we have a bit more ego. I'm a guy also, so I'm qualified to say that. And because I see a lot of ladies who stick it on their careers longer than husbands, I think it's fair to say, guys, we have an ego, and sometimes when things don't get our way, we tend to resign, we tend to retire prematurely. And this phrase, never good at office politics, don't use never. Anything can be learned. That is the growth mindset. I am still slow at online stuff and computer stuff. In any case, the only phone I've used was iPhone. Goodness. But I got out a website and also this YouTube channel whereby you are viewing this from. And it was all eked out through hard work and learning. So why did I do that? It's quite simple. I needed to survive. I needed to compete in my marketplace, and it's the same with office politics. If you need to stay in your career, you need to build better interpersonal relationship skills, because let's not kid ourselves, it's not the one that works the hardest, it's the one that appears to be the most suited that is promoted within the company. But again, this would never suggest to me that he has strong opinion on things. I took an interest in learning how to become an advantage player, also known as card counter. It took me 9 months to perfect my game. What in the world is card counting? Card counting is unlike cheating, whereby it's illegal. Card counting exploits innate characteristics within a card game, in this case blackjack, to give a player an advantage over the casino. While it is not illegal, advantage plays are often discouraged, and some players are even banned from certain casinos. We'll come back and talk about this, so stay right to the very end. And if you're intrigued by some of the discussion so far, help us smash the like button and press on subscribe, especially if you like case studies that can help you understand the world and to understand finance a bit better. So I'm currently doing Grab now for 5 days a week, raking in $1.4 thousand per week. That's about $200 to $300 per day. It's very doable. But in any case, that's before cost. And what he has shared to me is that his car is fully paid. He owns the car. He did not hire it from a firm, which will bump up his cost. But again, it conceals quite possibly the true business costs of running this Grab freelance job. On my second channel, the JOSH TAN Show, whereby I featured before GrabFood riders, incentives in the gig economy can drop over time. There are no promotions on the horizon, unlike in a banking job. The car being used to eke out profits can occasionally go to maintenance and will definitely spoil faster with high usage than normal. And as always, Grab driving, no work means no pay. It's fully effort based, so this is a crucial thing to keep in mind. My girlfriend brings back $4,000 a month before CPF, so technically our official income is below $9,000. We are planning to get BTO next year, and we could get some grants. In any case, I can validate there are grants such as the Enhanced Housing Grant segment that is applicable also to BTO. And if I were to guess, he could get possibly $5,000 to $10,000 in grants based on their combined current income. I also like to ask anyone who has been through this process, is there any adjustment for self-employed people applying for a HDB loan where the income is variable? Is there a haircut of 30% on the HDB loan calculation, which will impact the housing loan eligibility, HLE, and could also possibly affect the grants that is being qualified? So personally, I'm also curious, if you have been through this process, because you are also self-employed and you have gotten BTO, let me know also how HDB actually calculates these. But his key question is, Josh, I have money on hand. Where should I invest it, or should I pay off my BTO? I quizzed him for what are his assets on hand. He's mentioned that he has 350,000 USD worth of stable coins USDC and about 90,000 Sing dollars sitting in the bank. The traditional suggestion is to take on the HDB loan because it's fixed 2.6%. It doesn't fluctuate with SORA. It is quite possibly the most friendly mortgage loan out there. And in that case, his wife's monthly CPF can foot a portion, and the loan quota for BTOs are usually not that big. But I want to gun at something, which is this 350,000 US dollar worth of stable coin USDC. Is it there from the cut winnings? Is it there because he likes to trade in and out of cryptos? If not, then what's the use keeping 350,000 worth of USDC? Unless it's being farmed out. But in that case, we have seen a lot of scandals of crypto farming. So my natural conclusion is, why not bring it to Sing dollars? Because USDC just follows the US dollar rate. Theoretically, there's no growth to the value regardless of what kind of breakthroughs blockchain technology actually makes. And how about converting this 350,000 into, for example, the Singapore savings bonds or fixed deposits? Singapore savings bonds right now, they yield 3% per annum. You can lock it in for 10 years, and that is still above the 2.6% HDB loan. Not just that, there are big risks with USDC. What if it's lost? What if he's no longer around and his wife or girlfriend does not know how to retrieve it and convert it back to Sing dollar? Would it be lost? Because if we compare it to buying Singapore savings bonds with all that money, it's a regulated product and it's in his CDP account. Anything happens to him, no issues. His family can easily recover back that value. So this is a point to ponder a bit deeper. Reading on further, I hate the feeling of owing something to someone or entity as well. My school of thought is, if I do pay off the BTO in full, the stress of that would not be there and I could start a family and my future wife and I could start a family ASAP. Personally, I hate debt, but I do know that there's good debt and bad debt. But overall, I still hate debt, whether it's good or bad. I can actually explain why he actually fears debt, or actually misunderstands debt. A lot of it has to do with his current lifestyle and circumstance. It's a cash world when you are in Grab driving, because it's daily income, correct? You collect cash. You make money on a day basis or you make money on a per trip basis. No work, no income. Fully cash world. In the casinos, even worse. The cash turns around even faster. Each game's result, win or loss, is just decided in a minute. And on most days for him, he could be seeing winnings, but also there are some days with losses. Unlike someone who is in a regular job where there isn't losses, taking on debt for them is very simple because next month's pay is almost there. That could also explain the mentality why some in corporate jobs rake up big debt loans, because they are so used to using futures monies knowing the security of their job. So again, the circumstance shapes how we approach and perceive the risk of debt. And if you appreciate the sharing and want to support content over here, I only have this super thanks stickers to see if there's a fair value for the sharing done. So thank you again in advance. What he has shared to me is his winnings from casinos in 2018 was 46,000 US dollar. 2019, 38,000 US dollars. And in 2022, 64,000 US dollars, which is about 80,000 in Sing. In itself already above the median income in Singapore. These are unofficial earnings, but I'd like to emphasize that there are no losses during these 3 years, and even though there are some losses due to bad variance, overall on a year basis, it will be positive. In 2022, he won a lot more because he played in a team. Have you seen this movie before, 21? If not, go watch it. It explains this story of the MIT Blackjack team. My message to him is, I understand that you have taken 9 months to master this art. It's milking good monies for you now. It's fun also. Giving it up right now is premature, but as always, good things must come to an end. And that's where I'll flow to my recommendations. I'll strongly suggest a change in mindset because you need a compounder. That is the key difference between someone who's wealthy and someone who's not. You need to think long term for everything. Someone who is wealthy is compounding effort and compounding money. Someone who is not is trading time for money and churning money on a linear scale. So that's the key difference. But again, think long term for everything. What are long term assets? Property? It's illiquid. And for the whole property game, it's all about leverage. Then possibly property is not your cup of tea. Go instead to CPF. Although it's illiquid, it automatically compounds the money for you. At current moment, you're lacking anything that is long-term and compounding. $8,000 topped up to your special account can give you tax relief of a couple of $100, and that $8,000 will be $19,700 in 23 years' time. That seems like a lot because that's your age of 55, but again, you need compounders in your entire portfolio. Don't just think about you in age of 33, think about you in age of 55. Then what about for stocks and equities? They are liquid, but they wouldn't be as high yielding as any business idea. You shared with me that you have made monies starting a bot, buying PS5 and Xbox and drop shipping them directly to dealers. I've checked around for a definition. I now understand that it's a method for scalping for profits, and indeed is very ingenious. This opportunity has already yielded you $150,000 worth of profits. That tells me something. You have a knack of making money. You understand where are opportunities. You can spot something, you can flip it for profits. That is why if I were you, I'll be just putting my monies in very liquid high interest accounts or just buying the Singapore savings bonds. Then I'll keep that mental energy to possibly go start maybe like an e-commerce business, because again, we want to compound efforts. If you can build a brand, that's different from scalping, because if you can build a retail brand, you can eventually sell that business quite possibly in years for millions of dollars. Even if you don't sell, you can build a network, you can hire staff to replace you. All this is leveraging on other people's time, and that's where you get on the exponential curve of building wealth. Because what I see in you is you have capital, you can smell opportunities, and you have a chip on your shoulder. Being a card player and a Grab driver may not be too glamorous. Use that as motivation to get to your next endeavor, and I wish you all the very best. With that, I'll sign off from here and see you in the next discussion. Take care as always. Goodbye.